Grade 1 Turf Classic is the New York Racing Association's richest thoroughbred race of the year on the grass. Featured will be Star of Cozine, star of the American Turf, winner of his last 2 Grade 1 races, with career earnings of more than $2 million. Now he meets last year's Breeders' Cup Turf champion Fraze, making his comeback as he races for the first time since April. Grass racing stars, old and new, meet today in the 17th running of the Turf Classic. Racing to the Breeders' Cup, presented by Thrifty Car Rental. Welcome to beautiful Belmont Park on Long Island, where we start a Saturday-Sunday doubleheader of top thoroughbred racing live here on ESPN. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Racing to the Breeders' Cup returns to New York. We'll spotlight the Turf division today with the Grade 1 Turf Classic. Later, another Grade 1 race on this same Saturday card, the Vosburg for sprinters. We'll be taping that and bring it to you as part of our hour show tomorrow, starting at 3:30, with live coverage as well of the 3-year-olds in the Jamaica and the 3-year-old fillies in the Rare Perfume. The weather absolutely perfect this week in New York. A beautiful fall day here, and the turf course for our big race listed as fur. Dave Johnson, Tom Durkin are alongside to work with me here today. We'll be back with them in just a moment, but first, of course, this is the 10th anniversary of the Breeders' Cup. Let's look back at a past Breeders' Cup champion now. 1985, the Breeders' Cup Turf, the brilliant English filly Pebbles against the best male grass horses in the world.
Coming after it from the outside. Strawberry Road and Pebbles, they're doing to the finish. Pebbles is game and determined. Strawberry Road driving hard. They're running out of ground. England Super Filly. Pebbles has won it.
Racing to the Breeders' Cup is brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low prices. By the Daily Racing Form, America's Turf Authority. By Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your bud. And by the Breeders' Cup, the best 10 years in racing.
Back live in New York, some of the fall colors starting to appear on the tops of the trees here on a beautiful afternoon for racing. Let's set the conditions for you now. Of the Grade 1 Turf Classic, the 17th running, $500,000 guaranteed in the purse, $300,000 to the winner. Thoroughbreds 3 and up all carry 126 pounds. And Dave Johnson joins me now. Dave, this Turf Classic has had quite an impact on the Breeders' Cup Turf.
Well, Chris, it's the last major grass race on the way to the Breeders' Cup Turf, and it's proved to be an excellent prep race. We've had 13 starters go from this race to the Breeders' Cup Turf, including 3 winners and 5 runners-up.
Some big candidates here today. We've got not just a star. We have a superstar in Star of Cozine, and he has not drawn many challengers.
But he has drawn the rail, and he is the 6-5 favorite, and Jose Santos rides. Solar Splendor, who won this race in '91, is back again with Herb McCauley. Fraze, who won the big $2 million Breeders' Cup Turf last year with Pat Valenzuela. Jerry Bailey rides George Augustus, the 4-horse who's been racing in Germany, and Apple Tree, a French bred who's been doing very well on the continent, completes the field.
Those are the current odds here at Belmont. You saw Star of Cozine at 2-5. Dave, after his Man o' War victory, he was sold to Japanese interests for $3 million and runs for the first time in the colors today of Tomiyato Farm. They say, and they made no secret about this, they want him to go. The main goal is the Japan Cup at the end of November, but he could still stop at the Breeders' Cup Turf.
But Chris, the Japan Cup, the Breeders' Cup Turf, and this race, they're all 1.5 miles. And when you have a favorite like Star of Cozine, well, you're thinking for some area of vulnerability. He has never been 1.5 miles on the turf.
Another question for him to answer today. And as we go to the break, let's show you the first to have double victories with a Turf Classic in New York and the Breeders' Cup Turf. It was 1986. It was Leroy Jolly's Grass Star Manila.
Theatrical and Estrapod matching strides. Theatrical by Ed. Estrapod game coming back toward the inside. Manila is third, and Dancing Brave has been defeated, and they're coming to the wire, and it's Theatrical. Manila coming after him. Manila on the outside, and yes, Manila gets there in the final stride.
You're looking at a live shot at Belmont Park, New York. Our Racing to the Breeders' Cup coverage, and Star of Cozine remains the heavy 3-5 favorite. Still, the question remains, he has not been the mile and a half, certainly not this year. Looking for an opinion on that, we talked to the Daily Racing Forum's David Litvin, asked him what he thought the impact of a mile and a half would be on this race and on Star of Cozine.
I certainly think he can overcome it. He's never been better. He loves this turf course here, but you have to consider who the horse is running against, too. I mean, he could get a mile and a half, no problem at all, but Fraze is a real mile and a half specialist, and he can get it, too, and he just might have the edge based on experience at the distance.
Well, Dave Lippin gives the edge maybe to Fraze. You're taking a look at Madeline Paulson's colors there on Fraze, the defending Breeders' Cup Turf champion. Let's take a look at the current odds now here at Belmont Park for this field of 5 for the $500,000 Turf Classic. Star of Cozine, the favorite. The second choice is Fraze. Apple Tree, the third choice, at 9-2. Last Saturday at 20-1, we gave you Walinda as the Budweiser long shot winner in the Super Derby. Let's see if we can find one at a price for the Turf Classic. Here's the Bud long shot.
Budweiser long shot is number 5, Apple Tree. No stranger to top company. Apple Tree finished second to both user-friendly and Opera House in Grade 1 events in Europe this summer. This 4-year-old has earned nearly $250,000 while proving he can carry the weight and go the 10-furlong distance. He's trained by Andre Fabre, who brought Serrant over from France to be second to Star of Cozine in the recent Man o' War. Well, we think he has more firepower in the starting gate today with Apple Tree, today's Budweiser long shot.
And the Budweiser long shot, Apple Tree, the third choice right now at 9-2 as they cross the main track over to the turf course and towards the starting gate for the $500,000 Turf Classic. Again, $300,000 is at stake. The stakes and course record one and the same, 2-24-2, just last year by the Brilliant Sky Classic, who was then upset as the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf when he was beaten by Fraze at the wire.
And we asked Mark Hennig about the change in strategy. He said, no, there'll be no change in strategy going a mile and a half. We'll just throw Jose Santos up and tell him to roll on.
There you see those new colors, by the way. Star of Cozine, that is Tomiato Farm, the Japanese interest. Jose Santos is up. Jose, a 5-time Breeders' Cup winner, and is a 2-time winner of this race, 1986 and 1988. Dave, what do you like?
I think it's going to be very tough to beat Star of Cozine.
Let's go to the top of the stands. Tom Durkin, who'll call the race for us. Tom?
Thank you, Chris. There you see the horses getting ready for this Turf Classic. The distance, of course, is 1.5 miles. It's on the Widener Turf Course here at Belmont, making this a 2-turn race. Most tracks require 3 turns for 1.5 miles, but at 1 mile and 5/16 in circumference, the Widener is America's roomiest turf course. They've got a real long run before the first of 2 turns here. It's better than 3 furlongs before they hit that first and only turn. A field of 5 looking very composed here, as is the favorite Star of Cozine. George Augustus, not totally unfamiliar with North American racing. He's raced twice here. Horses have reached the starting gate. They're at the post. See George Augustus in those brown and white silks. Apple Tree comes from the potent and king-sized stable of the #1 trainer in France. There is Fraze getting ready to go in the gate in Solar Splendor. But back to Apple Tree, trained by France's #1 trainer, Andre Fabre, who's also a member of the bar in France. So next time you get treated rudely by a waiter in Paris and you want to sue somebody, maybe Andre Fabre is your man. But Andre sent 4 horses to the post in the Arc de Triomphe. He sent Serrant to the post here at Belmont in the Man o' War a couple weeks ago. And he has Apple Tree today, making this horse the 6th best horse in his stable. There is Apple Tree indeed. You saw George Augustus blindfolded behind the starting gate. He has now gone in, and rest assured, they will take the blindfold off. There we go. And the final horse in here is Apple Tree. Apple Tree moving into line, ready for the start of the Turf Classic. And they're off. Fraze swerved a bit outwards toward the start. George Augustus was taken up. Now he's moving toward the inside. as Solar Splendor takes the initiative early. Star of Cozine backs off, and Fraze is right alongside Star of Cozine. He's gotten hemmed in the early going as they move by us for the first time. Solar Splendor will dictate the early pace here with Star of Cozine tucked away at the inside and Fraze to his outside. Apple Tree takes a spot near the back, and George Augustus is loping along in a ground-saving gallop in the early going. Moving into the first turn, Solar Splendor is on an uncontested lead here through a first quarter of 26 seconds flat. It is a sleepwalk in the early going. Solar Splendor left alone on that easy lead. Star of Cozine is down inside Fraze, and Fraze is in no hurry to move up now. Then farther back in the field, Apple Tree under the firm grasp of Mike Smith, and George Augustus is content to trail. The sleepwalk continues, a somnambulant half in 51 2/5 seconds as Solar Splendor continues to dawdle along on the lead. Pat Valenzuela with Fraze continues to pin down Star of Cozine. Apple Tree has clear running on the outside. He's only 3 lengths from the lead with 6 furlongs to run, and George Augustus trails 3 quarters in 1:16 3. It's been all Solar Splendor the whole way. Star of Cozine's been in behind him the entire trip with 5 furlongs to go. Fraze is just off the lead. He's only 2 lengths from the front as the field moves into the final turn. Apple Tree is yet to do his best running, but he's running strongly for it. George Augustus trails. Solar Splendor trying to steal it on the lead, and he's still there by a length and a half. On the inside, Star of Cozine is put to a drive, but Solar Splendor is strong. Fraze is coming with his run now. There's less than 3 furlongs from the line. Apple Tree is fourth on the outside, and George Augustus. It's going to be a sprint to the wire with Solar Splendor to catch a quarter mile from home. Star of Cozine down inside. Apple Tree is kicking in. Fraze is in between horses down toward the final furlong, and Solar Splendor is put to the test, and Apple Tree is right at his neck with the 16th to come, and Apple Tree roars to the lead with 100 yards to go, and he's pulling away with authority. Then Solar Splendor and George Augustus. Star of Cozine defeated today. He was 4th, and Fraze was 5th. But the first one under the line was European Apple Tree and his American partner today, Mike Smith, who rode brilliantly, only 3.5 or 4 lengths from the lead the whole way. The early lead was a sleepwalk, but this European had that kick late.
And how about that? A Budweiser long shot winner 2 Saturdays in a row for you. Apple Tree, the Bud long shot selection going off finally at 9-2 in this small field of 5. Wins it for French trainer Andre Fabre, who, remember, tried here a few weeks ago with the Man o' War, and as they pointed out, may have had his 4th or 5th string here, but did it today in the Turf Classic.
Yes, he had the firepower. They were in a pack as they turned for home, and the Bud long shot, Apple Tree on the outside, mows them all down, and it was Solar Splendor setting the early fractions as he had won at wire to wire in 91, but he didn't have to contend with Apple Tree, the youngest horse in the race at 4. They all carried 126 pounds, and Apple Tree, as the Bud long shot, makes it 2 Bud long shots in a row, comes home at 9-2. A very European style race there, sprinting the last quarter mile.
And it sets up perfectly to look at another Breeders' Cup champion. Remember the Breeders' Cup Mile of 1988? Another French horse, the filly Mias, trying to become the first repeat champion on racing's richest day.
And now they're down to the final furlong. Mias is charging hard to take the lead now. She's looking for back-to-back wins in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and she's leading by 3 and pouring it on, pulling away impressively here. Mias has won it.
Welcome back to Belmont Park. The crowd is still buzzing, and we are in New York, but it felt like we might have been in Longchamp in Paris as we watched the very slow fractions and a very slow pace here. Unofficially, it is Apple Tree, the winner, Solar Splendor, who set the very slow pace second, and George Augustus, another European invader, finishing 3rd. The 2 big stars, 4th and 5th. Let's go to Tom Drucken now for another look.
We pick up the action on the far turn, and the eventual winner is on the outside. 4th at this point. The horse with the white cap is Apple Tree, and the big favorite, Star of Cozine, was down inside. Pat Valenzuela, who was riding Fraze, was lapped on Star of Cozine the whole way. Star of Cozine's worst effort this year was in the Bernard Baruch at Saratoga, in which he ran a similar race. He just couldn't get out. Again, as Chris mentioned, this is just like a race run in Paris. Very slow early, and then they kick on late. A tremendous international collaboration here for Apple Tree. The horse is owned by Sultan Mohammed Al Kabir, trained by the #1 trainer in Paris, and ridden by the #1 jockey in New York. Apple Tree goes on to a clear-cut win here. Solar Splendor, you got to give a lot of credit to the rider of Solar Splendor, Herb McCauley, who just sleepwalked the early going. Chris?
Well, the question is the 1.5 miles too much now. Star of Cozine runs 4th in the field of 5, and the defending Breeders' Cup champion, Phrase, was last running 5th. Let's go to Dave Johnson now.
I am with the 1-2 finishers. Herb McCauley, who set those slow fractions. Mike Smith, who had the firepower on the Bud Longshot through the stretch. Herb, did you know you were going so slow early?
We were walking that first part of it, and, you know, my horse was extremely comfortable. It was like a morning gallop that first 3/4 of a mile.
And then for home, you knew you were going to have to sprint and match strides.
I sure was. That was the only thing I was worried about, because as slow as we went the first part, we were going to have to sprint coming home, and Mike's horse was full of run from the 8th hole.
Mike, let's talk to you. Did you know the fractions were as slow as they were?
Oh, yeah, we were crawling. It's kind of like when driving a car. If you're going slow, you know if you're going fast.
But were you tempted to rush up there?
Oh, no, I wasn't, because I want Star Cozine in my sight at all times. I want to run at him. He's trapped down inside there, but I don't want to give him a target. He's beaten me several times by me giving him a target. I thought it'd be the other way around today, and unfortunately for him, he got trapped on the rail line.
Here's your finish.
Just run by him pretty, you know, I wouldn't say real handy. I mean, they were running at the end. That last 1/4 mile, we really picked it up. But he's such a big, powerful colt. He just outpowered him.
Okay, Mike Smith, the winner. Herb McCauley on the second horse. We'll go back to Chris Lincoln.
Well, from a Group 3 win at Longchamp in Paris, coming to the United States, Apple Tree wins as the Budweiser Long Shot on the Turf Classic. And we'll go back now to the 1990 Breeders' Cup here at Belmont, where the story of the mile was as much a jockey as a horse.
They're coming down to the finish. Lester Piggott flailing away at Royal Academy. It's all Greek to me toward the inside. Here's the wire. Head bobbing finish. Royal Academy does it. And the living legend out of retirement, 54-year-old Lester Piggott pulls off the...
Welcome back to Belmont Park. We're just about to make the Turf Classic official for you, but before that, let's look ahead. Next on ESPN, senior golf coverage, second round action. The Transamerica PGA Tour event, the seniors at the Silverado Country Club in Napa, California. Bob Charles battling for the money title, but right now Lee Trevino is in the lead in the second round.
And let's take a look at the official prices here in the Turf Classic Invitational, and you're going to see some big prices there in the show money because the favorite Star of Cozine was off the board. Apple Tree pays $11.40, $7.40, and $11.60 to show. Solar Splendor, $13 to place, $8.80 to show. George Augustus paid $12.60 to show. The 5-2 Exacta paid $97.40. Well, this lawn party this afternoon was billed as a horse race, but I think you all saw that it turned into a jockey race. My star of the day is Herb McCauley. He almost pulled it off. But what a training job by Andre Fabre. Our Bud Longshot came through in the stretch in a very European run race as Apple Tree gets the money. Hope he goes to the Breeders' Cup, Chris.
We'll look forward to that. Jerry Lawrence is with us now, the Executive Vice President of the New York Racing Association. Jerry, just keeps getting better and better. Next weekend, what a show that's going to be.
Next weekend is going to be a tremendous weekend of racing here at Belmont and all around the country for people who are watching simulcasting and going to other racetracks with Breeders' Cup Preview, Belmont Breeders' Cup Preview, where we're bringing the fans 6 graded races in the Breeders' Cup Steeplechase. And it's, we feel, the second greatest day in racing behind Breeders' Cup, $2.4 million in purses.
Looking for a great weekend there. And, Jerry, it's been a great fall season that wraps up here.
The fall season here has been absolutely fantastic. You were here 2 weeks ago for Super Saturday. This weekend here with probably 2 Eclipse winners, even though Star Cozine got beat here, we still think he's going to be in there. And Sky Beauty here tomorrow, which you have on the air. And then this weekend coming up next weekend with the Champagne and the Gold Cup and DeHare and Lure and Turn Back the Alarm. Just some great horses.
Well, let's look forward to our program. In fact, tomorrow, Jerry, we will be back here. We'll bring you live coverage of the Jamaica of 3-year-olds and also Sky Beauty, the brilliant filly, destined to be, it looks like, the 3-year-old filly champion in the Rare Perfume, and tape coverage of the race coming up here, the Vosburg, coming up this afternoon for the sprinters. Well, an outstanding effort by a French invader, Apple Tree, under the American rider Mike Smith, trained by Andre Fabre, owned by Sultan Mohammed Al Kabir. He is a 4-year-old son of Bicala, bred in France, and Mike Smith, after Herb McCauley set the slow fractions on Solar Splendor, came on at the wire in the very European-run race to win one of America's richest grass events, the Grade 1 $500,000 Turf Classic. Racing to the Breeders' Cup. From New York, our coverage of the Turf Classic has been brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low prices. By the Breeders' Cup, the best 10 years in racing. Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your bud. And by the Thoroughbred Racing Associations, assuring the highest racing standards. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 700 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4-CARS. Hotel accommodations for ESPN provided by Ramada Hotel LaGuardia, the choice of thousands of business travelers. LaGuardia Airport's finest. Charts and statistics courtesy of the Daily Racing Form, America's Turf Authority. Racing to the Breeders' Cup is an ESPN production in association with Winter Communications. As the Budweiser long shot, the horse from France on the outside, Apple Tree, upsets America's turf star, Star of Cozine, and beats last year's Breeders' Cup turf champion, Fraze. What a turf classic. So long, everyone.